Hello and welcome to episode 3 of our Timberborn 1.0 full release playthrough with the Folktales faction here on the Down the Plughole map, Cycle 2, Day 15. On the precipice of another drought here in just over 1 day. But before we get into things here in this episode, I got an international package this week all the way from Poland that I thought you guys might like to see. Mechanistry very kindly sent out care packages to a group of Timberborn content creators, and I'm thankful to be included in that group. Inside the box was a kind letter from Mikhail on behalf of Mechanistry and 2 awesome hand-carved wooden beaver statues, one for the Iron Teeth with a removable hammer prop, and one for the Folktales that you may recognize as representing the Farmer Monument in-game. Thank you so much, Mechanistry, and everybody involved in making this happen. These are absolutely delightful, and have found a permanent home on my desk, which I'd show you, but it's a huge mess, so maybe I'll get it cleaned up and share something later. But seriously, thank you so much. I really appreciate it, and I really love these. Let's get into this episode, though, because we've got tons and tons and tons of stuff to accomplish. So I wanted to address a couple of comments right off of the bat here that we got in the last episode. And yes, I do see now that there's absolutely no water flow here, so we don't need to worry about having any power generation plopped into this spot. And yes, the many, many, many of you who rightfully pointed out that I should instead of dams use floodgates here. You are absolutely correct, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to automate them and all that good stuff. But for now, this is okay. This will work out just fine. We'll just replace some of this before it is too late. So instead of having these dams right here, what I will go ahead and do is remove this, and then remove this, remove this, remove this, remove this. I'm going to put these down to triple height floodgates, which remember we have 3100 science, so there's no reason not to have this unlocked. I honestly don't know why I hadn't put these in. Maybe it's because I was afraid of having not enough planks to get everything done, but it's cycle 2, and we're not going to have a bad tide for at least a couple more, so we're going to have time to make some just fine. Other stuff kind of related to this is what's going to happen when we have a bad tide and we divert all of this bad water into this other side of the map here. So it's going to be fine going through over here. We should note that this over here is not as tall as this over here, but I don't think the volume that we're going to have coming from all of these 3 sources here is going to be enough to pose a big issue. It should just go straight down here after we have our plug thing blasted out. Well, not that one, but this one over here, and then it will just end up flowing harmlessly, at least for right now, all the way down to here, and then into this bit, all the way off the edge of the map. So, you know, that's should be okay. I don't think we're gonna have any problems with that. Maybe I'm wrong. Who knows? But I also did want to address the fact that yes, we could just come up here, especially for okay, it's this one. And this water seep could very easily be counteracted by just putting in a single levee. So this fills up. And that one, of course, just goes straight through here without any other issue. That's on the list. It's on the list of stuff to do. But I figured right now it was a little bit more important to tackle all of these sources coming together to potentially cause problems, and then figure out what we can do with this. Keep in mind, this is continuously filling up, and it's going to fill up until such a time as these bombs down here are predisposed to explode. So I would fully expect this to be very, very full of bad water and possibly threatening to leak over this hill here. So we will see what happens. It's also worth noting some of the other stuff you guys have said. Yes, we do have the beginnings of a tunnel to get through to the outside of the map here. But keep in mind, you go all the way up. We have bad tide drains here. So this isn't somewhere we're going to want to send beavers unless we absolutely have to. And also, Part of the point for me putting one of these tunnels in to escape all of the bad water out of was to create an extra place for it to go, not to modify this, because stuff coming out of here is not really going to want to come all the way back over here unless this area is built up enough to block stuff off. If you have a convenient exit, right here, after this blows up, by the way, remember the radius on this is quite large, then I think it's just going to make more sense. Also, one thing I had not considered is that when this blows up, we have all of this land here that is also going to be blown up, and it's possible, depending on how this is laid out. It doesn't look like it. I had a thought, I think it was last night at 3 in the morning, because that's when you think about these things, right? That maybe when these blow up, we're going to have this cascade of just devastation that takes out a whole bunch of other land around it, but it doesn't look like that's going to be the case if these X-marked spots are the only things that disappear. And there's a couple of these relics and stuff positioned around that are going to be destroyed. But we already talked about why that's not a huge deal. Anyway, I digress. I do always read all the comments, so feel free to let me know what you think. There are a few of you who are very disappointed with some of the mistakes that I make, and I just want you to know I'm not going to get mad at you for calling me out on stuff. But there's a certain level of expectation for unedited, no do-overs playthroughs here. I don't take stuff out. If I make a mistake, I leave it in, because that's an honest way to do it, I think, at least. So you're going to see that stuff, and that's just what it is. Somebody else left a comment that we have way too many blueberry bushes, and we really don't need to worry about keeping those, because, of course, the folktales only use berries for emergency food or for medication. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to very carefully not take that out. I'm going to start removing these berries so that I can continue expanding our farms. We do need more food. We need more storage. We basically have none. And I will admit that was probably not the best idea. But I did want to focus efforts on putting in diversions before things got horribly bad. And I think at this point now we probably don't need to be hyper-focused on that. But we do need the beavers to actually survive. Thankfully, right now, we do have this dam here. There is no threat of bad water coming in, at least for another couple cycles. So we can keep pumping. We can keep expanding our storage. We can slowly get into these larger tanks. And especially once we have more stable power output. But for right now, we're about to lose what we do have, which means it is going to be time to bring back the power wheel. Or build a wind turbine. Unfortunately, we don't have enough planks to build a wind turbine quite yet. These used to be called windmills. They did rename it. So what is going to happen here is normally we'd have the geothermal engine going, but I also don't have enough planks for that. So this is going to turn into a thing where we've just got to get this guy on the wheel. Get one of these lumber mills going. The power output of this and the power consumption of this are equivalent, so that's just going to have to be good enough. I think for now, let's take these farmhouses down. This one's already at 1. This one can be fine with 2. We have a full storage of potatoes, and right now we don't have enough extra beavers to really justify doing a bunch of this stuff. But I'm going to try to avoid pausing the grill without also just getting inventors out. We don't have extra beavers right now anyway, and I think a couple of you were irritated that I left these unpaused. Even if it doesn't matter, I do try to accommodate people's requests that make sense. So we pause these, which means now there's only 4 vacancies. And of those 4 vacancies, it looks like... Actually, you know what? We can just take a look here. I know the gatherer flag doesn't matter. We can pause that right off the bat. I've got nobody in the forester. I think it's mostly just lumberjacks, which, we don't need 4 of these right here. And I think I can just straight up get rid of these entirely. That takes us down to -1. And one of these, right here with nobody in it, which we do want to prioritize to be able to get over here, is going to take care of that. So, since we're no longer on extremely urgent time crunch, we can mark these trees for cutting, then we can have this path be slightly straighter. So on and so forth. You know the drill. But before we can go any further, put any more of these staircases in, we do have to do just a little bit more with this, and then get things rolling right along. So, bobbing about, Modder of the Year winner for the 2025 Golden Log Awards, and a very long-time channel viewer and very helpful person in general, has left a very good description of how the breeding in-game works in the comments that you might see if you scrolled on the last video. And the gist of it is, there has to be 2 uninjured beavers and 1 empty slot in any given lodge or housing or whatever for them to breed. There's no empty slots here. No empty slots here. 1 empty slot here, and both of these beavers are uninjured. In fact, we have no injured beavers. So, in theory, they could produce another beaver. No empty slots here. No empty slots here. And then we have 3 healthy beavers and 3 empty slots. So, it is possible for them to keep making more baby beavers. It's just a matter of the math working out and the game deciding that it's time for that to happen. So, I don't know why it hasn't made more, but it should eventually work out depending on how this stuff is just, I guess, luck of the draw with everything. So that answers that question to a certain degree. Just thought I'd give that explanation because I know a couple people were wondering what in the world was happening with all of the beaver breeding here, and if I have the ability to help solve a problem, or somebody else does it for me on my behalf in the comments, then of course I will share it with all of you. So, we're making more planks. We do need to make more planks. We need more storage, yes. But when you're in crisis management, pre-planning, panic mode, then some stuff just kind of goes by the wayside. We're going to get that taken care of today. Don't worry. So let's find some spots that are going to make sense. I believe it would be smart for us to slowly relocate a lot of our industrial stuff over to here. But we have to have planks first. And also, it's normal mode. The droughts aren't going to be that bad. But getting the geothermal engine up and running, permanent 400 steady HP, which, by the way, you guys have contributed some creative suggestions for what HP means over the years. My personal favorite being Honda Preludes from way back. But others that you guys posted in the first couple episodes include Hockey Puck, Hamster Power, Hydropower, Herbivore Power, Hokey Pokey's Hot Potatoes, Hoser Power for our Canadian friends, and all sorts of other stuff. But yeah, I think it's time to get this geothermal engine off the ground. Well, I guess we can't get it off the ground because that's how it gets its power. But you know what I'm going for. It's going to make it a lot easier during droughts, even if the early ones are only 3 days. It's still going to be a good idea to have that stable source of power. And we really don't want this to be over here. It's just how it was because I was very unfamiliar with how this map was laid out. Didn't know what the flow patterns were going to be. And I'm not going to say it's fine because I really should have figured that out beforehand. But like I said at the beginning of the episode, I don't take mistakes out. I want it to be something where you guys can see, okay, well, this is how a average person maybe could have made a similar mistake in playthrough so that you wouldn't do the same stuff. At any rate, we do need to build storage, and we do have some resources to support doing that. So, gears, of course, go in warehouses, and then most of the other stuff we're making or using goes in large piles. We've got space right here for 2 of these warehouses. I'm going to put 1 in, and we're going to set that for gears. And then I don't want to put right across the way because that is a prime location for some industrial supplies and stuff to be popped in. But we put a pile here and a pile here just for example. We can have 1 for logs, 1 for planks, and that should take care of a lot of our problems in terms of storage for industrial supplies for a while. Regarding food, because this is all, arable land, we don't need to be wasting it. Let's put stuff up here, which for right now we don't really have a lot of other options. But easy thing to do is at the very least put in some small warehouses. We've got right here a grill that will hold 120 grilled potatoes, so we don't really need a storage for that yet. But we do want a storage for the raw potatoes, and again, these get quadrupled. So if I'm only going to build 1 storage, it makes sense to build the storage for the thing that is then going to be quadrupled rather than build storage for the thing that has already been quadrupled. I hope that makes sense. And then over here, since, again, I don't have a good spot for it yet, and we can also put well-being stuff on top of these, I'm going to put another small warehouse, and that is going to be, at least for right now, a storage for carrots. I know it only holds 30, but we'll get there. We'll get there in due time. baby steps, and then a lot of planning to hopefully mitigate what happens there. And a couple people have said in the comments that there's another surprise that happens before the dam goes off, and I, for the life of me, cannot figure out what it might be. And I'm a little afraid. I don't know, because I didn't see any other unstable cores when I was looking around the map. I don't know if it's possible to hide one, and then it just appears. I honestly haven't looked into it, but I guess I'll find out the same time you guys do. So let's, for the sake of pathing improvements, take this out here. This is honestly fine to be in this spot. I just want to make sure that we have good connectivity. And now, as soon as they build all these stairs, they'll be able to start construction on our fun stuff here. Because these are triple floodgates now, they are not going to be able to traverse the top of this, which means to build this and this, they will need additional stairs up to this level. I'll just make it on the same plane as everything else here, so that should be fine. Now, of course, that's a lot of wood going into here, a lot of planks. We've got 60 planks represented with all these floodgates. And we do have plenty of trees to cut down to get there. And we're farming some more over here that hopefully do not get killed by bad water, because we're going to have clean water over here. I think over time it's going to be important for us to have kind of staged dams set up here, where this will retain water above one more level that would otherwise flood the town. But for now, we are probably not in a tremendously good position to accomplish that. Instead, let's just take it slow, see about, you know, not making major mistakes, and continue growing the population so we can accomplish what we want to accomplish. I do think it is going to be necessary for us to keep building more housing, and I don't really have great places to put stuff yet, but we will get there. We always do. You know how this goes. So I think it's going to make sense for us to maybe, depending on how we want to do this, get a little bit creative, put a 3 right there. And then, because we have so much science, it doesn't matter. Get this 2x2 roofing piece, which will give us a little bit of a bonus to our well-being for all the beavers that walk past here, which should be a lot of them. Get these stairs built. And then, also on top of here, we can do the exact same thing, which will give us a bonus to the beavers in here and in here. In fact, you know what? Why not? We can choose to make things look nice. At least for the most part. So basically, everybody except these 3 poor beavers in here is going to have a nice thatched roof cottage, I guess you could say. Which, you know, we could do something like this, but I don't really care for how that looks. Also, just the rooftop terrace here isn't really conducive to putting good stuff. So, maybe we'll just leave this alone for right now. I've given them tons of stuff to do, and I think we need to let them take care of what they need to take care of, and we also need to plant some more crops. Carrots-wise, we have 100, and there's some still on the ground. I don't think we're using enough to justify planting anymore. But I did say we're going to plant some more crops, so we might as well. Sunflowers do not have to be processed. So if we go ahead and start planting some over here, then I guess they can go snack on their sunflower seeds if they choose to. But I think that the builders are probably a little preoccupied trying to do all of this stuff. And all of this stuff over here, which is slowly progressing, as one does. We're generating 53 HP out of 50. Of course, this second lumber mill wouldn't do us a whole lot of good without extra power going through it. And then we'll turn that on when we actually have water flowing through here in probably 2 days. For now, though, we're looking alright. Looking alright. We're still at -1 beavers. Which, as soon as we get this other house set up. Okay. You saw the beavers hanging out over here. We really don't want them to get stuck. But it seems to happen all the time. So either the beavers are dumb, or maybe they just, you know, they want to get away from it all and become inaccessible so no one can contact them. I definitely understand the potential appeal of that, but let's try to make sure they can't do that. Yeah, we just need a couple more planks and then 20 more logs. We've got plenty coming down These guys actually don't have anything to do because somebody clear-cut everything. Let's mark all these dead trees. Have them take care of that. I don't necessarily want to cut all of these trees down. So let's unmark this area until we actually have to do something. I'm going to pause this guy and this guy. So that gives us 4 extra beavers. And now, I think it's going to be to our advantage. We're going to have water flowing through here within most of a day. Anyway, let's put 2 beavers in the district center so they can be builders. Let's reopen the forester. And then let's... well, I don't have any extra space to put water into, so I shouldn't really turn this on quite yet. As soon as we're able to make a bunch of gears, then we can definitely get the medium tanks going. So, to that end, I should place some, shouldn't I? Where do I want to put tanks? And where can I even put tanks with how I have this set up? Not a lot of options, to be perfectly honest with you. This is kind of far, but it is a spot that will fit a tank. I feel like I should have a better location for it, though. And no amount of reconfiguring over here is going to do us any good. So what I'm going to do, partly because we have easy access to science over here, at least another couple thousand, I'm just going to get rid of this inventor. And I'm going to put... is there any way I can... No. I'm going to put a medium tank there. And it shoved some rubble back in the corner that we don't want to deal with having back there. So I should have known... I should have known, and yet somehow I did not. I need that to be accessible, so we'll just take care of that. Let's make sure this is set to water, which it now is. And they have tons and tons of stuff to do, and guess what? The geothermal engine is all ready to go. I know it feels like a huge shame to kind of functionally abandon this. However... this is going to be on all the time, and this is actually a place where it makes sense for us to build, so we're not going to do it yet. But when the time comes for us to move stuff over, we will. I do want them to try and get some sort of progress done on this before it's too late. And I think that is going to be to our tremendous benefit. What else is going to be to our tremendous benefit up here is if we have some storage nearby for logs. No, there's not really anywhere here I can place this where there's going to be a path past it, is there? Well, regardless, there's going to be a lot of logs and, to a lesser degree, planks, but still enough for this to be a good thing for us to have over here. Just a couple of storages that can be filled. We don't have a hauling post yet, but I bet you can guess what's coming. That's right, it's a hauling post. These don't really matter in terms of location, and for right now, I think this is probably fine. They don't haul things to the post and somewhere else. They just go point to point. This is just the building that employs them. So let's start off with, let's say, 3 haulers. We do have 19 adults now. They are starting to fill out everything, which I think is fine. We still don't have water flowing through the wheel, by the way, at the end of day 1. But it should be very, very soon. There it goes. There it goes. Very good. And what that means is the next day, we don't need the power wheel here. And it's making plenty of power. So let's unpause this. And since we're using the planks to build the floodgates over there, I don't want to start making more gears yet. But I think we're going to be okay pretty soon for that to be viable. Now, one problem we have over here is that we do not have any log storage other than this 20 piece here. I think for right now it's probably okay. But it certainly is not going to be ideal long term. We will deal with that, but I'm thinking we're going to end up moving all of this stuff over here before this is a huge, huge problem. So this is flooding just a little bit. But that's because this hasn't caught up with the drain yet, so that should go down. We did not have problems with this before. It just has to recede a tiny bit. And there it goes. Yeah, very good. And this is also another big reason why we don't want to have bad tides coming through here. You already know it's going to be a mess. You already know. So we still have 2 extra beavers, which is good news for when they actually build this. Let's actually prioritize the hauling post, because that's going to make things just so much easier. And it's always a good idea to have, you know, some of that early on. We have an injured beaver, which thankfully we do have... No, not you. I want to click on the bed. We do have a medical bed. It's probably not a bad idea to get a second one installed somewhere. So I'm actually going to build 2 more, just so I don't have to worry about forgetting about it later. Oh, these lumberjack flags probably could have been paused a long time ago. There's no trees that are really... Okay, there's 1 tree that's available to cut in here. But this one can handle it along with a lot more here. So we're going to leave that alone. I've got my 3 extra beavers who are going to work here. So that's a good problem to have, because it's basically already solved. This now is something that we are going to have to figure out about automating. So I did see some discussion about the merits of blasting a channel to come into here. Keep in mind that this also drains out this way. This is the same height level. They are not any different. So for that to come all the way out to here means any bad water we flush into here, if it also goes down here, or can't go down here, I should have said, will come out this way. Now, we don't have an exit here yet, so this isn't an issue. But when this does explode, obviously it's going to be a huge torrent, and for that reason it could spill over, especially right about here. But I really don't think it's going to be as big of a deal as some of you seem to believe it will be. So for now, do I want to... I think I can pause this and be okay. We've got enough logs to take care of most of the rest of this. Let's just let them... let's let them get to what they want to get to. I know we still haven't built the storage for the food, and this is going to be pulsating a little bit. But I think we're going to be alright. I think we will be okay. We will get into some more automation stuff, or I guess any amount of automation stuff, because we haven't actually done it yet. But I do want to make sure they can get some sort of something taken care of. I know they're still working on this, and this. Once this pile's in place, the haulers can work on that. Obviously, they do have to finish that first. But we have all the materials. The builders just have to do it. There we go. Use the plural form of the verb. And that will solve a lot of problems by the time we get there. I don't know what's next, actually. It looks like it's the warehouse for the potatoes. Okay, yeah, that's good. That's good. We don't have anything for the sunflower seeds, but that is okay because the farmhouse will store some, and the district center is able to pick things up off the ground if need be. Reminder that all these debris pieces do disintegrate after 15 total days, but they're going to pick them up before then. It's not going to be that big of a deal. Alright, so now we got these 3 working here. I've got some extra beavers. So I suppose it probably is not a bad time to get this gear workshop opened, since we do kind of have, not necessarily a surplus of planks, but we have enough for construction and for turning into gears so that we can eventually build the medium tank. And at that point, we can populate both of these water pumps. I think for right now, this is totally fine. And nobody got stuck here. So, you know, good times for everyone involved. I don't really see a reason to pause this forester quite yet. We're just about done here. We just need these planks coming up. And then, of course, like I said, this will be a much, much better thing for us to be working on. So, none of this matters unless we have a way to get bad water over to this side, which I previously said in last episode, maybe the first one, that we could get into these explosives in the reserve warehouse, and that was a good early game, easy way for us to take care of that. I know opinions may differ about the quote-unquote validity of using this as a early game strategy, because this is a resource on the map. I don't know. You think what you want to think, that's okay. But we're going to get into this because I think this is part of the intentional design of the map. And honestly, it's already here. and it's intended to be used, so I'm going to do it. Now, I know this is going to injure beavers basically immediately, but we do have 2 extras, and this isn't exactly prioritized. Also, we don't need it until we have a bad tide. So we'll just have them working on that as, you know, as time permits. This guy now has nothing else to cut because I haven't marked the rest of these. I just prioritized, you know, the ones that were in the path because, obviously. And I suppose it's fine to just get this all the way up here. I know we can't get to all of them, but we can get to enough. And now we're getting to the piles, and it looks like, oh yeah, they're going to build the levee from above and below. I'm going to have them focus on this. We can have the haulers take care of that. Here we go. Yeah, see, they're exhausted going all the way over here. It's a long trek. Eventually, this would be probably a better second district. But I've got ideas for district mechanics. I got ideas. Get back into some fun stuff. Yeah, you know, for Cycle 3, I'm feeling pretty good about this. Again, it's normal mode. It's not really that big of a challenge anyway. This is more about showcasing this map because I thought it was a neat concept, and then eventually getting into the automation bits. So, all we've got to do now is just wait a little bit for some stuff to get built up, and then talk about how we're going to do automation, which I guess I don't need to wait for. I could just show you. So if you're not familiar, Timberborn did add automation, like I said in the first episode, but we have a lot of different inputs and I guess you could call it electronic circuitry components represented here as these other devices. What we're wanting to do to actuate these floodgates is use the contamination sensor, which is this guy right here. We don't have metal blocks yet, so we can't build it, but we will, I shouldn't say soon, we will soon enough. But the contamination sensor, as the name implies, measures contamination in a various specified area based on where you put it. And the input on that, when it reaches a certain contamination, it will activate, and whatever device is connected to it, or whatever building or what have you, will change state. So when we click on the floodgate, obviously it can't be automated because I haven't built anything that can automate it. But say that I unlock the contamination sensor. And I have that built. See, what's going to be the first one to have contamination coming through? It's probably going to be this, because that's the shortest path and it has no blockages. So I'm going to want to put a contamination sensor maybe right here. Maybe right there is going to make sense. I'm going to build that. I obviously can't build it yet. Then you come over here to the triple floodgate, and we have this button that says Automate. But before we click on that, now what we need to do is we need to make sure that when this measurement is greater than the threshold, which we've placed here at 5% as default, I think 5% is probably okay as a starting point. But when this measurement exceeds, because that's what this means, this measurement is greater than the threshold of 5%, this will turn on. And then when this is on, it's going to affect whatever we pair to it. So let's automate with contamination sensor 1 right here. So when it's off, the height is going to be 2.65 by default. That's not what we want. When it's off, we want the height to be 0. When it's on, we want the height to be 3 meters. So when this activates, it's going to slam shut. But if this is set to 5%, then we're going to get a little bit of contamination through here. Maybe not a ton. So I'm going to push this back down to 2%. And that's going to allow this to, basically before any amount of poison gets through, any significant amount at least, slam this thing shut, which will then cause this to fill up and redirect the water wherever else it thinks it can go. Which is why, sorry if this is long-winded and you're already tired of me talking, but I do have to explain this for the folks that have not played the game. There's always some who watch the early episodes of these series. That's why we're going to blast through here with the dynamite that was so kindly placed on the map by the map creator, and have this spill through this way. So you might be saying, well, why didn't you just build it further downstream? The reason I built it here is because this is where all 3 of these converge. And when the clean water comes through, this is going to be the best place for that to mix around and then eventually turn clean. If I had it down here, then this whole mess would be nasty. Oh, hey. Reserve pile of planks. That is actually readily accessible. In this exact location. It's almost like this was planned. Well, not by me. I didn't make the map, but... You get the point. You get what I was getting at here. Okay, these guys are not working on any of this. They have made absolutely no attempt to demolish this, which I should not chastise them for. Because I did click this last, but let's prioritize this. I do want to see what happens when we come over here. We have these 2 extra beavers. I guess it doesn't do any harm, since we have extra beavers, to put them in an inventor on minimum stuff. Even if we have all this science over here. Alright, so now we have our unlucky constructor beaver coming over here to get rid of these thorns. We're at 2%. I'm very curious to see at which point in the deconstruction this beaver becomes injured and unable to work. So I'm going to go triple speed here. Oh, okay. So they got injured at 10%. Okay. We may run into problems if it's too many more beavers get injured. But again, it's cycle 3. We've got some time. Not the end of the world. Also, I am perfectly aware that I could just demolish this and it's going to spill the contents on the ground like that. The game's going to let you do that. I personally don't feel like that's in the spirit of the challenge, so I'm not going to do it. Play however you want, but I'm going to do it the way it's intended and try not to exploit the game too much. Feel free to do whatever you choose on your own playthrough. Yeah, so they're making nice progress here. We do have logs and planks coming in courtesy of the hauling beavers. So that is a very, very good thing here. I don't need to have this focused on the beavers over here getting injured, so I think this would be a good opportunity for us to have a little bit of a watch of how these guys are building all of this stuff here. Oh, I don't want to click on the pine tree. So I think I will employ a little bit of tactical time-lapsing here and let them get a little bit of progress done, since we don't have a ton of other stuff we really need to be focusing on right now, and we don't have enough gears to actually get that medium tank done. But we will soon, and then at that point we'll go and accomplish all of that. I just had a thought after sitting here watching this time-lapse for a little bit. And that is, you know, in a perfect world where I had a little bit more knowledge of how computer circuitry works, I could engineer some sort of solution involving multiple contamination sensors and conditional statements and all that, but that is not knowledge that I presently have. I'm attempting to develop it. That's why we're doing those live streams with the Iron Teeth faction where you guys can give me advice in real time. But I think if we're going to go with a single sensor solution for right now, I probably am going to end up moving this contamination sensor. I'm not going to delete it yet because I'll show you a trick you can use to save a little bit of grief setting things up. I'm going to instead have this much closer to where we have these floodgates here. So if I place it right next to the floodgate and set it to a very low tolerance, that means that all of the water that collects back here will also have to be cleaned before these will reopen. So, instead of clicking here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the duplicate function, which we have an option to duplicate the building, or we have an option to copy settings. You can do it either way you want, but if you click duplicate or hit the B key, because B is the best letter in the word duplicate, it's going to give you the same building. If we place it down here, you're going to see that it's copied my settings, but what it hasn't done is it hasn't changed the things that are tied to it. You do still have to manually change that, so we're going to hit that to contamination sensor 2, and that is going to solve our problem. They hopefully don't build this before they get over here to this levee, so because I don't trust them not to do that, we're going to hit pause. But that's going to solve our issue. Of course, these synchronize to adjacent floodgates, so they're already set to contamination sensor number 2, and there you have it. Now, let's go over here, since they built most of that, and let's check on our access. And it's cleared. And somehow we only had a couple of beavers injured. So, it's time to connect it to the path. And now, we have 150 explosives ready to go. Oh, boy. So, yes, let's be smart about how we utilize these. I do have the ability to have beavers come up here to put the rest of this in, so I don't want to blow it up yet. But we have the science also, so it's not that big of a deal. And because we have the science, and because we have extract, potentially, we're not going to have a bad tide this cycle anyway, or we shouldn't, at the very least. I was thinking about maybe blasting this down deeper than one tile. But we can also just do that one step at a time with the regular dynamite without sending more beavers into the brambly thorns of destruction. So I think that's what's going to make the most sense. It doesn't need to be an elegant solution at first. We can make it look nice and have all sorts of fancy automation and multi-step logic and everything later. The most important thing is that it's going to keep our beavers clean. And everything else is secondary at this point in time. Now we finally have 24 adults. We have an extra beaver, which we could assign to the hauling post. And for the sake of things being simplified for right now, I will go ahead and just do that. We have 5 beavers in there. We've got some accumulating. You cannot combine accrue and accumulate to accumulate, or maybe you can, I don't know, because language is a social construct that evolves constantly. Anyway, I was going to say we can send some beavers over here to take care of these relics, but I would like them to finish what they're building over there. We need to talk about our diversion tunnel for whenever these things go off, and I don't know how soon that's going to be, so I want to do that really, really fast. So, because of how this comes in through here, I do want to check. Oh, so it doesn't matter at all. This is just going to be completely wasted. So, if that's just completely gone, which, by the way, this is still increasing. If that's going to be completely gone, then I guess it doesn't really matter where the tunnel goes. And I could just do that. I know it might seem like I'm contradicting myself, but I'm really trying to evaluate stuff based on all the information I have, and that does mean my answers could change to, hey, what are we doing with XYZ? Keep in mind, we can't get back here yet because there's ruins in the way, so I feel like that's an intentional design choice. But it also means that I think we can come straight through this area here. There's this little tiny cutout because we have all of this mess down here. No, I don't think we need to align with that. So, having the tunnels, which I'm not going to unlock quite yet, it's going to mean we have 10 there. I obviously can't place it, but if we start from here, that gives us to 20, and then start from here, that gives us 27. So we need at least 27 tunnels. I know it's going to have to be wider than one block, but 27 gets us there. That's a lot of planks. But most importantly, it is only 27 extract and 27 dynamite. Those are our limited resources till we can make those on our own. And this has 200. So that's more than enough for us to take care of that using that. We can, should we choose to subject our beavers to this, put in some bad water pumping up here, so on and so forth. But that all requires metal blocks, which you should remember I talked about a little bit earlier in this episode. They're okay. They're getting pretty close to done here, so I don't feel bad coming over here to take care of this. Let's get this through the rest of the night here on triple speed, and then it's going to be time for us to start doing some scrap metal, which the geothermal engine is going to come in very, very handy for. Let's put down some stairs to get down to this area. Make this nice and simple. Pop in a pathway here. And then at the very bottom, we do have to unlock the scavenger flag because this is the Folktales. The Iron Teeth get it for free, and they also have another building, but this is what we have. I like to hide these kind of out of the way a little bit. And it's also a little bit closer. So what that's going to do when that does get built is that's going to give us our beaver's scrap metal, and then we can unlock our smelter, which, by the way, does require gears to be built. And they should... Okay, good. Yeah, they're in the process of doing that. Smelter, going to go right here at the top of the stairs. And that is also going to need some sort of storage. We've got this space right here, which is primed for some small piles. Make it nice and simple. I want to keep this available for extra power stuff. But with this geothermal engine, we can only power 2 smelters anyway. So I think for right now, this is okay. This is fine. Let's get this set to scrap metal. Let's get this set to regular metal. Obviously, the small pile's not the end-all, be-all of capacity, but it's going to work out just fine. That'll get us started down the road to having enough stuff available, and we should be in good shape. Now we have this one floodgate left. It's mostly logs, which we need to be cutting down at a faster pace. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to unpause this, and I'm going to sacrifice another couple of ranks of trees here. So that should speed things up a little bit. Keep in mind, even though this says, you know, we have 2 vacancies, this is our slush right here. And we're not always going to need these, I know, but I feel like it is a mistake not to use them if we have them and we have the extra beavers, which technically we do. So, we're not going to send them in here quite yet, but if we are going to have a diversion thing set up as soon as we can, then we do need to be getting these thorns out of the way. So we'll get there when we get there. Maybe not today, but we will get there. This is approaching complete very, very soon. In fact, it should be today in game, unless I have made a grave error in judgment. I think the builders should be just about done here. I need the 1 plank, and yet I do not see a beaver running around with a plank for this. Now that we're all watching, there it goes. And there we go. We have a medium tank. So now I have all of these small tanks, which, you know, we don't need to get rid of them, but long term we're not going to need to have small tanks anymore. Let's get another beaver here in this other pump so we can slowly start raising our numbers here. We should also start raising our food numbers, build some other storage as we have the ability to find good spots for it. But I do think it's probably not worth not building anything. Not worth not building. There you go. Because of concerns for space, since we aren't using it anyway. So over here, I will have a storage for grilled potatoes, and I will have a storage for, well, we already have one for carrots. Sunflower seeds really aren't that big of a deal anyway, so we'll just do the grilled potatoes and the carrots, and of course connect these up with paths back here. And since I apparently love building nonsensical layouts, we'll put stairs over here, and that'll be just fine. This also opens up more space for us to put rooftop terraces if we feel like it, but for now this is purely a functional addition. We might make it look nicer later. Once again, just concerned about this. And they're still waiting on the logs. I think I can justify having 1 more lumberjack in here and nobody in these inventor huts. I think that's going to be okay. Yeah, things are looking pretty good. No real complaints. Making solid progress. We are coming up on the end time for this episode, though. So I think the very end of the temperate cycle will be the best spot to do that. And right on cue, we have a 3-day drought warning. So before that happens, I think they should be able to have time to get this. Maybe not necessarily the smelter up and running, but we can get these stairs and start the process of doing all of that. This isn't an issue because it's a drought, not a bad tide, but this is just what they're building first. And they do, of course, have to get to that with the help of the stairs, which do not have a log allocated to them yet. But this will be done pretty quick. You just have to get the beavers in here to accommodate all of that. Yep, see, there they go. And then we won't have to worry about it. So let's make inroads to this here. I guess, you know what probably makes the most sense is just putting a mild prioritization on these 3 things and then letting the beavers do the rest. It's also probably worth adding some more housing sometime soon. But I think we'll just let them take care of this and then monitor the start of all that fun stuff. And then see what happens from there. We'll get into some of the blasting next episode. That also gives you guys a chance to give me just a little bit more final feedback on whether you like that idea, whether you think it's a stupid idea, or you want to tell me that I've done something horribly wrong that has ruined my lineage for generations to come, or whatever it is that floats your boat. I always welcome your comments, welcome your feedback. But I think, yeah, they should be done here pretty quick. That gives us a little bit of time. They have prioritized because I told them to the scrap metal. That should be probably next. This is just about done here. Remember, we're still in 16-hour days. I haven't pushed them to 18 yet. I don't think it's that necessary. That's done. Now, because that's completed, I can unpause the contamination sensor, which I probably should rename from Contamination Sensor 2. We're gonna leave that alone for now, though, because I want to talk about naming conventions and stuff for this maybe next episode when we start getting a little bit more into some automation. Because there's all sorts of stuff you can automate, right? You can do basically everything. So, for example, just since we're at the end of the episode and I'm about to do the wrap-up stuff, you can have any sort of industrial process, any sort of building, any sort of house, or even roads with gates. You can have that automated, set to any manner of parameters. And in the other playthrough, the Iron Teeth on Ant Farm, we've already automated a bunch of those production chains. So you can actually make a much more efficient colony with a smaller population. And also population counter helps with that than you could ever do before. There's just so much cool stuff you can do in this game. I know I say it a lot. It sounds like I'm glazing it, but honestly, I've been playing this game basically every day for the past 4.5 years, which probably should be a cause of concern that I'm still making mistakes, but it is what it is. I don't pretend to be smart. I just have a good time playing with beavers on the internet. And that's basically all we need to be worried about here. So I'm going to go ahead and start wrapping up the episode now. We'll get this on a little bit of a faster speed here. Now, but I do appreciate you guys watching these videos and offering your comments, constructive criticism, so on and so forth is always welcome. And I very much appreciate those of you who support the channel, so we don't have to have sponsors and can just, again, enjoy having fun playing with beavers on the internet. So, whatever it is you're doing with the rest of your day, stay safe, have fun, and of course, we will see you back again soon for more fun with the beavers in this playthrough and all of the other playthroughs we're working on. And then other games, if I ever manage to have a week where there isn't a new announcement in this game or something really cool that I've got to take care of. But I digress. Stay safe, have fun. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.